Beneath all the arguments, what this comes down to is one question: does the dog wag the tail, or does the tail wag the dog? Critics of the claim that Israel now steers US power usually argue that the American empire is fragmented, with countless factions competing for influence driven by money, inertia, or careerism, and that pro-Israel networks are merely one player among many. This argument isn't wrong, it just underestimates Zionism. The American empire is not a single actor. It is a sprawling system of institutions where American interests are interpreted and executed by individual people. Most participants inside that system are not playing a long game. They are individuals pursuing funding, prestige, or survival. They rotate in and out. They manage decline. They have momentum, but no destination or long-term goal outside of their own personal interests. Zionism is different. What distinguishes Israel First loyalists is not raw power, but clarity and dedication of mission. Whether secular or religious, Zionists are a collective operating with a coherent long-term objective, assisting one another to attain position in order to achieve that objective. In slow, bloated bureaucracies, the faction that knows exactly what it wants will outperform those that do not. The second argument holds that the United States has always been imperial, long before its relationship with Israel, and that Israel functions merely as a regional asset, a junior partner doing America's dirty work rather than shaping policy. Supporters of this view often cite Joe Biden's remark that if there were not an Israel, we'd have to invent one, or former Secretary of State Alexander Haig's description of Israel as America's largest aircraft carrier that cannot be sunk. In this framework, Israel is a strategic tool, not an independent driver of power. These claims are not false. They're just no longer true. They reflect a Cold War era that no longer exists. The collapse of the Soviet Union removed a peer competitor in the region that backed the pan-Arab movements opposed to Western imperialism. Subsequent wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Syria destroyed rival states and turned the rest of the region into a network of collaborators. In this environment, the United States no longer depends on a single indispensable enforcer to project power. It has no shortage of partners willing to offer money, diplomatic alignment, intelligence cooperation, basing access, and territory to maintain US dominance. In that context, Israel is no longer uniquely necessary as an unsinkable aircraft carrier, which raises the real question. If the United States no longer needs Israel to project power in the region, why does it insist on continuing to empower Israel over all others? Why tolerate behavior that generates instability, backlash, and regional chaos when there are alternative partners willing to serve US interests and pay for the privilege? This is why the old model breaks down.
Trust nothing.